Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be doing my Reindeer Readathon wrap up. Yes, I know this has been a very long time coming and we're already at the end of January, so yeah, I've been very slow to get videos out this month and it's just the new year has been kind of kicking my butt. Um, I'm the full-time person at work right now in my department, and I was the only one. The other person went on maternity leave, so I'm all alone, and so that has taken up a lot of time trying to like take on all their projects as well as my projects. So needless to say, it's been a very busy month, and I finally found some time to film. So here I am doing that. And I'm gonna share what I thought about the books I read in the Reindeer Readathon. Now, I think this is the year that I've probably done the best with my reading during the readathon. I felt like I did a decent amount of the prompts and even managed to add some bonus ones in there. So, yeah, like usually I'm pretty swamped in December as well, but this year, like I managed to get a decent amount done and I'm very proud of it. So, yeah, my team unfortunately did not win the readathon. We were, I think, in last place, but that's okay. Everybody on my team was so nice and like they worked so hard to read as much as they could. So, good job, Team Mistletoe. I'm really proud of you, and we'll get them next year. Anyways, I'm going to jump into the wrap up and share which prompts I did complete and what those books were for that. So, for Dasher, I had The Nightmare Before Christmas, and this book was so friggin' good. I loved it. It was a 5-star read for me. It was just the perfect amount of like cutesy with a little bit of spice in there, and it was all themed on like holidays. And in this instance, it was holidays coming together, Halloween and Christmas. And so, yeah, it was just like the perfect read for the perfect time of year, and definitely like helped amplify the the feeling or like the spirit of Christmas and really helped like get me in the mood for Christmas, just based on like a lot of this book is taking place in the North Pole, but it's described in such a way of like a city in like the North Pole, and all these different like Christmas elements to it just like really get you in the vibes. It was such a fun time. I really liked the two main characters too, as well as some of the side characters. Like I found like they were all very unique in themselves, but they like just drew you in with just how adorable they were, but also sarcastic and just entertaining. It was great. And it was kind of like, I don't know, the what's it called where it's like sunshine and then like the grumpy one. It was kind of like that. So that was a lot of fun. And I really like that this world is kind of like expanding, because I know that there's another one coming out now that has to do with St. Patrick's Day. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's called Go Luck Yourself. So I'm really looking forward to reading that one. I hope I can get an arc of it because that'd be great. But yeah, I definitely will continue reading books by this author because they have done a really good job of doing like the cute mixed with the spicy and just blend it all together, and then manage to theme it with like holidays. So it's a fun time all around. Then for Dancer, my genre for that was pop, and so I decided that like I felt like that kind of aligned with more of like a fantasy or like adventurous book. And so for this one, we read, I say we because Marcus and I listened to this on audio together while we were traveling home to our families for Christmas holidays. It was The False Prince, and this one was a lot of fun. Like I didn't even really know anything about this book. I kind of just let Marcus decide because we needed to choose a book that we could both listen to. And so he took the reins on this one, and I had a good time with it. I find that like audiobooks, it's hard for me to really get into them unless I am driving, because that's where I can just like, I'm only focusing on the road. That way my mind can kind of like wander a little bit. Sounds weird, but like that's the time when I can actually focus on audiobooks while still paying attention to the road. Because when I'm doing other things, I feel like I just get too distracted. But anyways, yeah, this was a good one. It was following a bunch of boys who were kind of taken in by this mysterious character, and he's like training them to be like royalty. Um, and he has a plan to kind of like push one of them as like a fake prince. Um, and then from there, he'll be like the royal advisor. And so it's kind of like the whole process of him taking in these boys, and then they're going through royalty training, I guess, and trying to make themselves as the best possible option to be this like false prince. I found that there were a lot of like good twists in this book, and I enjoyed finding those out and kind of like puzzling along as we went, because I was like, oh, I feel like something like this is going to happen, and I feel like this is kind of like foreshadowing this. And it was really fun too, because like Marcus and I would discuss it as we're driving and kind of like try and figure it out. I mean, he figured it out pretty quickly because he's very good at like piecing those things together in books. It took me a little bit longer, but I still enjoyed it, and I think the ending had like a good payoff. So yeah, I would definitely be interested in reading more in this series. But it was a good time. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Then the next prompt was Vixen, and that was to do a book that like you didn't buy, and so I borrowed Book Lovers from Marcus. It was technically his mom's book, but like I borrowed it through him because we had it here at the house, and he read it first. So like I borrowed it afterwards. I also read it because he told me that I probably would really like it, and I did really like it. I ended up giving that one a 5 stars as well. It was my first time reading Emily Henry, and I really liked her writing style, and I really liked um, her banter that she had between her characters. I just thought it was so fun, and like I don't know, it was so quick-witted and just entertaining to read these like character interactions all the time. I was having a good time with it. And this book is centered around an editor and a literary agent who are kind of like mortal enemies, but they have to work together on this book. And so that was just like a recipe for greatness. I loved it so much. Um, it was also fun because it kind of gave you like those Hallmarky vibes, because in the book, the literary editor goes to the small town of said book that they're working on and tries to like, well, she goes there with her sister for like a vacation, but is really like embodying the whole feel of this small town while working on the book. And so yeah, it definitely gave Hallmarky vibes in that sense. um, but yeah, I did like how it all played out. I liked the ending. I thought it was very appropriate. There were definitely some like touching moments in the book as well. So yeah, overall it was a good time, and like I would definitely read more about Emily Henry after experiencing this one because it was a lot of fun. Then for comment, I needed to read a book that ended with a page number that ended with 6. And so I chose Snowbound with Her Mountain Cowboy. I was trying to get like wintry, like Christmas vibe books because that was the season we were in. And so yeah, I had this on the shelf and I read this one and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was very like heartwarming. It's kind of like a Hallmarky vibe like you're looking for. So the main character, she is the owner of this like winter lodge, and her ex-husband ends up showing up on the lodge like doorstep with a head injury, and he can't remember who he is or like anything. So she takes him in and kind of like helps him readjust and try and like helps him get back his memory. And so he stays at her lodge with her for a certain amount of time because there's like this huge winter storm happening right now, and that's how the main character like her ex got in an accident that like hurt his head, and that's why he ended up on her doorstep. So he's staying with them during this winter storm, and the two of them are just kind of reconnecting because he doesn't remember anything from before, and she's helping him. And it's just, I don't know, it's a very heartwarming story. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I also liked that both the main characters were in their, I think, late 30s, early 40s. So it was like a different main character that I'm used to reading, because like I read a lot of like YA, and those are all like younger main characters. So this was fun to read older main characters and see them in their element. But yeah, it was a good time, and I had a lot of fun with it. Then for the Cupid prompt, I believe this one was to read a book by an author that you've already given 5 stars. And so I chose Darcy Coates, and I read their Small Horrors book. So this is a collection of 50 short stories. So each one was like 6 pages long. It was really entertaining and a lot of fun. And I honestly can't remember all of them because there were so many of them in this one. But I know that there were a couple that stood out and were definitely like very intense. And I love how no matter what like the situation was, she always managed to leave you in this sense of like, oh God, like, oh dear, this is happening. Oh my goodness. Like that's how you felt at the end of every single one. And you're just like, oh, she's really good at leaving you like feeling creeped out. And that's why I like reading Darcy Coates books, because they're just so much fun, and they're such a journey every time. and I always have my mind like reeling, trying to figure out the certain things that are happening in the background and like what the overall big plot point is. So yeah, I really enjoy her writing, and I will continue to read Darcy Coates' books. I have a couple more on the shelf over there that I have not gotten to yet, and I'm very excited to do so. Then for Donner, I read Green Arrow, and I had a great time with this. This was a lot of fun. I had originally started with a different Green Arrow and then realized, oh, this is actually like the 6th volume in this series, so I jumped back and grabbed the first one and read this. Enjoyed it quite a bit. It was a good jump into Green Arrow, coming back to Star City. I will say it's hard to remember this one because like immediately after reading this one, I then followed it up in January reading the next like 5 volumes. So those ones are more fresh in my mind than this one. But overall, it was a fun time, and I gave this one a 4 out of 5. And those are all the prompts I managed to finish. So I feel like I did pretty good. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a pretty good year for me. Usually I get like 4 or 5. So I feel pretty proud of myself this time. And yeah, I also wanted to say thank you to everybody that participated in the readathon. I know this is like a really late thank you because I took so long to film this video, but I always am super appreciative of everybody that joins in every year. It is such a fun time for us. We really like hosting it and are just so amazed that like it's grown so much since we created it. And yeah, I hope everybody decides to come back next year and do it all over again. Anyways, that's it for my video, guys. Let me know in the comments down below if you did participate this year and how many prompts you completed. If you guys want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Ko-fi page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as a link to buy my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post new videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And until next time, keep on reading.